Now, the Cosmic Desktop Environment by System76 is probably one of the most anticipated things, releases, pieces of software within the Linux sphere. This desktop environment, written in Rust, was announced way back in 2021, and now in the year 2025, it has finally entered its beta stage with Pop! OS 24.04 beta. And it's been a pretty decent chunk of time since I personally have checked it out. So in this video, that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be checking out the Cosmic Desktop environment, going over some of the key features there, Cosmic applications, and just go over what I love about this thing. And answer the question, do I see this competing with the likes of GNOME and KDE Plasma as this goes into its maturity? But real quick, I want to give a big shout out to OnlyOffice for making this video possible. If you don't know, OnlyOffice is a wonderful suite of Office applications that competes directly with the likes of Microsoft 365. You can install it natively on Linux, or you can even install it with Nextcloud. Now it's even taking another step in competing with the likes of something like Google Workspace with OnlyOffice DocSpace, an online platform to create, edit, and collaborate on a wide variety of documents, including text documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and PDFs. And of course, this is fully compatible with Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint without any content loss. And this does go beyond a simple document editing solution, as you can enable a variety of rooms or environments to store files, or users can then embed downloadable files, folders, and entire storage spaces onto websites. You can share confidential files in VDRs or virtual data rooms, where you can set a limited file lifetime, in which files will disappear and become unavailable. OnlyOffice DocSpace is affordable, fully featured, and gives you a secure workspace for both small and mid-sized businesses. And the cool thing, all editing functionality is available for free, so you can get started today without ads and without paying a cent or even inputting your credit card information. So if you're interested in trying OnlyOffice DocSpace, do check out the link down below. So here we are on my desktop for this Cosmic environment. Now, real quick, I'm going to close this out. You can see I'm on CachyOS. This is their page for Cosmic here, and you could go ahead and use it yourself, try it out. If you hit View Cosmic Distros, these are all the options that you have. You can try it out in the beta of Pop! OS. Fedora has a couple different spins. I am trying this out in Cachy, but you can see there are some more options here that you could go ahead and play around with. Now, if I go back here real quick, this page, you can get a rundown of exactly what's going on. And over here, if I click on this, OMG Ubuntu has a fantastic page going over the beta release. So I'll link to the previous page and this one so you can go ahead and check both of those out. Now, I'm going to overview this desktop as if we've never seen it before. And the first thing you're going to probably notice is it looks very similar to GNOME. And that's because it's what Pop! OS has been forever, just a heavily modified version of GNOME. Now, this is not that. It just looks like that. And as you go through and you kind of play around with everything that you have available to you, you could see what they really wanted to do with GNOME, but they were limited because you could only do so much with extensions and customizations in a separate desktop environment that you haven't developed. So you saw we have our workspaces here, quick and easy jump between those. The application menu does look a little bit different compared to something like GNOME. Gives you this nice little pop-up window where you can have groups of things here. So if I go Office, for example, I got nothing in there, which would be a great place for OnlyOffice to sit. But you can group all your applications here. We have our library home. You can see I was playing around with this just a little bit on my own. I got some games and stuff in here, but it's easy to search for things. So if I just type in terminal, brings it up. If I hit the Windows key, I get this nice little pop-up, so I can easily switch between windows, open applications. So if I want to open up the terminal this way, boom, just go like that. I can hit it again and switch in between a variety of windows. So it really just makes using this with a keyboard awesome. Now, speaking of keyboard, we do have the Cosmic tiling, which for at least GNOME is probably one of my favorite extensions. I do hope they keep updating it for GNOME, but over here you can see this item. If I go ahead and click on that, we have the workspace behavior. So default is floating, which is kind of the typical behavior for desktop environment, but we can go ahead and switch it over to tiled. So now if I go and jump to a different workspace here and open up an application such as files, you're going to see it's going to take up the entire screen. And then if I go ahead and open a new window of the terminal, it's going to automatically tile for us, and so on and so forth. So I can open up even another new window and it should pop in right down here. So that's very nice. And then if I grab this, you can see I can easily move these around and customize how the tiling is by simply dragging the windows. And of course, you can also use a keyboard shortcuts if you'd like to. And a lot of that's going to be found in the window management settings, which you can see opened up here in another window. If I close some of these out like that, make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. You'll see some options there, but we are going to dive into settings a little bit later. So now let's dive into some of the actual custom applications. Now, you've seen the Cosmic Terminal. It's pretty simple. If I go over here to view, you have a variety of settings here about, you can see some information about it. Close that out. We do have settings here. So if I open up the settings, you can customize this quite a bit with the specific color schemes, zoom steps, your background opacity. So I can make it a little bit translucent there, which looks nice to me. Fonts, splits, bunch of different things. If I go back over here to view, you could do kind of tiling within the terminal, which is a feature with most terminals. So if I split this vertical here, we now have 2 vertical windows. It's not going to look that good because of this. But now, yay, H-top. Now you can enable that split view without having to have a separate tab open. So you could run something like H-top over here while you do work in this terminal, for example. Another one is the Cosmic Screenshot. So if we open that up, I mean, it's way prettier, but it's giving me the kind of Mac OS vibes with how these settings look. So we can capture either a specific region. So just like that, and then you would hit enter. It would save it to our pictures. So then we can see that by just going down to our files, pictures, there it is. Or we can capture windows. So if I open screenshot again and do the window capture, so let's select this window, boom, it grabs that window. And then if we open that up, we can kind of see what that looks like. And it does the kind of macOS thing where it puts it behind a PNG there, so it's kind of floating. So that's really nice. One thing it doesn't have, which will be cool if they were to add it, is the ability to do like screen recordings through this for just like quick, easy captures instead of having to like open up OBS and things like that. So let's close this out for now. And this right here is files. This is another new one that is their own curation. Again, very similar to Nautilus or similar to almost any kind of Linux file manager here. You can sort directly from right here. We can view, so we could change the views to grid views. We go into settings here. There's not a lot of settings yet, but we can type to search, which is nice, and you can switch it to a single click through the settings. Additionally, under view, we have typical edit stuff, and file, you can create new or open new tabs, so it can have the tabbed file explorer view. You can reload, you can add various folders to the sidebar, move to trash. So not too extensive when it comes to features, definitely not something like Dolphin in KDE Plasma where you can open up like a terminal and start tinkering around and playing with that directly in there, but it does what it needs to do. So next is going to be Edit, which is their text editor. So if I go over here, we have the Cosmic Text Editor. Again, this is going to kind of follow the same theme. It's a little bit more feature rich than something like gedit, but nowhere near something like Kate, for example, again in KDE Plasma. We do have tabs here, so we can edit a variety of documents at the same time. Let's open something up. Cache OS fish config. There we go. There's some content. So you can see there is a syntax highlighting. It has the numbers here, so you can see what line you're on. I'm not sure the hotkeys or anything like that. This is kind of one of my earlier chances of looking into it. Oh, there they are. So we do have the syntax highlighting, default font. So again, very minimal settings, but you can enable Zim bindings here, which is nice to be able to edit text that way if you are somebody who's familiar with using Zim. I am not, unfortunately. I myself am a nano enjoyer. Now finally, I don't really have any media to actually play, but they do have the Cosmic Media Player, which apparently supports a wide variety of things. Hold up. VAPI decoding, Vulkan rendering, and support for audio file, album art, subtitles, and video, and a tree for browsing folders. Very, very nice. Give me just a moment. I'm getting something good. Hey, there we go. Get rid of that. And now let's actually open something here. Downloads. Cat dog. Cat dog. Cat dog. Very nice. So you can see it's playing there. I don't want to play too much because I don't want to get cooked. But you could jump about. It looks like when we move it, it automatically pauses it, which is fine. Here we have the audio. So this is where you change that. If I go up here to file, we have open media again. So just typical file stuff. Where'd it go? There it is. Volume control. I I mean, there's no subtitle option that I'm seeing here. It might show up under here, might require integrated subtitles, which I know with a VLC, you can kind of add a subtitle file after this fact. So that's kind of what I'm assuming is going on. But nonetheless, very nice. Nice little simple media player tool. And finally, we could see it down here. We have the Cosmic Store. We got some stuff in here as well. It's not, if you go to something like the kind of GNOME store, you have a bunch of categories and stuff here. The categories are on the side. You have editor's choice, which Slack is at the top. Don't know why an editor would ever choose that, but it's there. And then of course we have popular apps, so just a bunch of really common stuff. And it's all categorized. So under work, we have OnlyOffice desktop editors, which I'll give that a quick install. And it looks like it's defaulting to the FlatHub, but we could see right here. So FlatHub or FlatHub. This is probably dependent on the distro, but it's not seeing kind of the AUR or just the Pacman general kind of Arch or CachyOS repositories. If I go over here, so Flatpak only type situation in here, which, I mean, I get it. So let's close that out. Again, it could just be the distro. I'm sure if I did this with Pop! OS, it would have Debian resources there. Let's click details. What happens there? Okay, just more details on that, more details on the current operations. Scroll down like any other thing, it gives you the description of the application, the version, licenses, and a link to the homepage. And other than that, it's pretty simple. Not a lot going on here. The real question is it automatically going to put this Office application within the folders in the app menu? We will see. Almost 200,000 FlatHub monthly downloads is kind of crazy. Respect though. I respect it. So there we go. Let's close that out and then go to our applications, Office. Hey, there it is. So just like that, we're in a document and there's tabs and we're editing it and it's pretty and it's awesome. So close that out. Lastly, the settings. You probably noticed that this, at least some of the things here, is not default Cosmic because like I said, I've been playing around with this. I changed some things here and there. Now, let's go ahead and dive into the settings and we'll just kind of go through some of the things that are specific to this. The Cosmic settings right there, right in front of my face. So here we are. We're going to go back to window management, wireless networks, Bluetooth. I don't have that accessibility. We do have the screen reader magnifier, so you can enable that if you would like to. Pretty good with some of the accessibility stuff, high contrast, invert, color filters. We have some hearing impairment stuff, and I'm sure that they're going to add more to this as time goes on. But if I head over to desktop here, this is where we get into some of the customization stuff and some of the things that I've already changed. Wallpaper, I didn't change that, but I mean, I could if I want to. These are probably Cosmic, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's just move on to appearance settings, dark and light modes. So that looks horrible. So we're going to keep it on dark, but here we have the accent colors. So the accent colors, you'll most notice at least around the windows here, up here in like the switcher. If I open workspaces, just anywhere that there is a color to be accented, you could just change it right here. We have a nice, easy way to go ahead and change these with some predefined colors, or of course, you can add your own here. You can customize the application or window background color specifically, which is weird, but cool nonetheless. Let's restore that to the default. We have the container color background. So this is like the navigation sidebar, drawers, things like that. So you can really fine tune these colors to specifically how you want them to be. Interface tint, control component tint, and here use theme accent color as the active window hint. If I disable that, I can change this so I can have a different accent color for everything else, but then set this kind of border color to something else. But I think that's kind of better, keeps it more uniform, and just makes more sense. Default is round. I don't really like this. You can see down here, it just, this icon just doesn't look good with this rounded. If we dive into here, you can see now this is rounded, got some round action here. You could go slightly round or fully square. So now if I open this up, you can see everything's a square now. I like the nice sharp edges. Beautiful thing about it, you can customize it exactly how you like it. Now for interface density, comfortable seems good, but if I want to squish everything down a bit, I can go compact, which really just gives a lot of stuff at once. It's kind of overwhelming, so we'll keep it at comfortable. Of course, you go spacious, which would be really nice if you were on like a tablet. Make it more spacious because your finger's bigger than the fine point of a click. Still just keep it there. Now, the active window hint size. I think this was 3 by default, which for me is a little too big. I mean, you can make it bigger if you want to be real drama about what windows you have open and closed. If I open up a terminal, you can see that. Kind of silly. Like I said, I like it just to be 1. 2 looks good too, but I like just a nice little thin line around 1. The gaps around the tiled windows. So if I go over to the workspace that I do have windows tiled and open that up, you could see this right here is that gap that it's talking about. So you can customize and change that as well if you would like to. Ignore that kind of little glitch in there. This is a beta. These are experimental settings. Font, I did change the font, but I could change it to something else if we'd like to, such as Font Awesome. Close that out. We have more font options, or we could just set everything to default, which I'm not going to do. And that was only things under appearance. We're now back into desktop. We have panel and dock. Panel is this guy right here on top. There's not as many settings, but there is still a good amount. You can automatically hide it, change the positioning, set it so there's a gap. So now it's flush, and now there's a little gap. All a preference type ordeal. You can expand it or not to the edges, so I think that does not look good. So let's keep it like that. Appearance, you can have it match the desktop, or if you're a psychopath, you can make it light and everything else dark, but again, your discretion. Size, you can make it bigger, so if I do increase this, it switches it to icons for some reason. Well, I get the reason, but it'd be cool if we could customize these. I can't right click. That's a little feature request on my end. I want to right click these and change them. But let's just keep this set to small, just like that. We have the opacity here too for the background. And then we have configuration for the panel applets. The only thing that I did was I added the number workspace. By default, that isn't there. So then to change workspace, you'd either have to use the hotkey or go into workspaces here. If I click add applet, you can see I can re-add it by hitting add and then just putting it wherever I want. By default, it's right here, but I could even put it as like the very first thing right there if I would like to. And it's basically the same thing with the dock. A lot of the same settings. You can auto hide it, change the positioning, set what displays it's on specifically, which is cool. Again, we can add a gap here and we can stretch it across the entire screen. So again, all that, your discretion. And of course here we do have applets that you can customize, move around, and then you can add some here. There's a lot more. These are all the default. One thing that will hopefully eventually come and be super cool is like a little store, an applet store where people can make their own, submit them. So then we can have like a little like CPU percentage dial, things like that. That will be cool. Again, it's not a thing right now, but it is a feature request for me. And then everything else is basic settings. We have displays, which here you can scale it up a little bit if you would like to. Increments of 5%, orientation, refresh rate, resolution. We have sound, we have battery and power. You can see my Logitech mouse plugged in there. Input devices, application. So here is a X11 application capability or compatibility, sorry. So you can edit and customize this if you're having any issues with any of those. We have our startup applications here, which I don't want this to come up anymore, so I can remove that. And then our default applications. So here you can go and customize all that as you see fit. Of course, time and language, system and accounts. We have our users. If I go into firmware, there's nothing going on there right now. Go into about, you can see some info on the actual system that I've been running and testing this on. It's kind of not old, but older, Ryzen 7 3700X. We do have a 3060 in it, and it is working pretty good, at least on this Arch-based distribution we got going on here. Casio OS, it is Cosmic, running Wayland. So that is my kind of overview tour walkthrough of the new Cosmic desktop environment. I am really looking forward to it. Compared to last time I used it, it was like an early alpha release, and it had a lot of things in places that just didn't work. And everything that's here seems to be working. The only thing is, and this is because it's in beta, I was going to record this with OBS Studio, but my capture or screen capture is not showing up. It's fine. I'm not too worried about it. It is new. I tried to get packages to fix it. Nothing worked. So I got in a capture card. That's why we're unfortunate that this is a 1080p video, because that's the only kind of capture card I got. Can this compete with GNOME, KDE Plasma, and other top contenders? Absolutely, especially if they do some of the allow people to do custom applets. If they have a little store, I think that would be a big one. Oh, I just noticed. What the? Look down here. We got a little, my background shifted. Oh no. Have things like that not happen when it's out of beta. That's probably another key thing to do. Don't know what happened there. But have some desktop widgets. Right now, I'm not sure if it's just how it's supposed to be, but like I don't think I can, there's no thing to drag. I can make files, test.txt. I mean, the whole UI and all these like pop-ups and everything just looks super good. Everything's clean. Ah, there we go. There's the file. Oh, we can't move the file. So that's one thing. The desktop should, in my opinion, be interactive, like a folder or like most desktops. Oh, look, the dock fixed itself. Very nice. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's clean. It's written in Rust. So depending on who you are, that could either be a con or a pro. For me, it's a pro. It's super cool. I mean, if it gets a little bit more features, a little bit more customization stuff, and doesn't bug out as much as KDE, that'd be nice. And it's definitely incredibly inspired by GNOME, considering that's what they've used to build their Cosmic environment up until this point. And if they just make a better GNOME, well, nice. And with all that, I do hope you have a beautiful day, and goodbye.